Yeah! Let's go! Oh, yeah!
Yahoo!
Hey guys, it's me. Shut up, Tyler. But guess what, guys? Happy Luigi Day Vacation. For those that don't know, Luigi Days typically are my end of year and Christmas gift to you guys for watching Shut Up Tyler throughout the year. And this time we are on a vacation as part 3 of our major story where we're on Luigi Island. And all of my friends and I are on this big vacation and we made this direct, hoping that you guys would enjoy. And thank you guys for watching. Although last year, someone was a little upset he didn't get invited to Luigi Day Beyond, so I'd like to introduce our first special guest.
Ah, Tyler. I have sensed a great disturbance in the Force, as if millions of voices cried out in terror, and then immediately cringed. It would seem you are once again preparing to unleash Luigi Day Vacation upon the galaxy. Ah, a day to celebrate Luigi, a second-rate plumber, a sidekick, a coward who trembles at the mere sight of a Goomba, and yet you, a supposed filmmaker, have chosen to dedicate your time and resources to this. I find your lack of dignity disturbing. And what of your so-called friends? Do they stand against this foolishness? No, they encourage it. They enable your descent into madness. Do they not realize that by supporting you, they are complicit in your crimes? This is the company you keep. There will be consequences. The Empire is now monitoring Luigi Day Vacation. Any further attempts to spread this nonsense will result in severe repercussions. Perhaps a forced retirement from content creation, or worse, a collaboration with Jar Jar. Consider this your final warning, Tyler. Abandon this pathetic tribute, or suffer the full wrath of the dark side. This is not a threat. This is your destiny.
With that being said, guys, why don't we get started with our first segment of Luigi Day Vacation.
Luigi Day Vacation. Sounds suspicious. Potentially predator-like. Some sort of YouTube channel, Tyler, that you have. Anyway, Chris Hansen here, True Blue Streaming Crime Network. Takedown with Chris Hansen, To Catch a Predator, all the rest. Now I'm going to need you, Tyler, and everybody who's watching the content on Luigi Day Vacation to have a seat right over there. After buying all the Luigi gift cards at GameStop, I'm suspicious of what's behind all this. I think Tyler might be in trouble. So it's time, Tyler, for you to meet me in a dark kitchen someplace for an interrogation. And which one of your viewers is going to step up and help you out there? We don't know. Just behave yourself. And maybe cut it out with all the gift cards at GameStop. I'll be watching. I'll see you on the TV. The podcast is Predators I've Caught. Don't be in them anymore. Just watch and listen to them. Take care.
Are you tired of having to plan and cook for all of your barbecues and family gatherings, especially all of the cleaning and prepping needed for weeks before and days after? I used to know the feeling of being overwhelmed with setting up for these sorts of occasions, which is why I use Hi, I'm Shut Up Tyler. You probably remember me from something. But anyways, I heard about your Inquisition, and I'm here to help. Introducing Tyler's Garage Barbecue. If you pay me enough money to do this, I'll call out from whatever I was supposed to do and do whatever you need me to do instead. Just look at all the decor we got here. Very great to talk with the in-laws about avoiding personal problems with petty shit from high school. Not only do we have basic Midwest decor from your dad, but we also have good food as well. Just take a look at this nice, hot, delicious food I'll have ready for you.
This food is fucking cold. It sucks.
Hell, I'll even cook this giraffe too if you need me to. If you're worried about the food being too mid, or because a casual Caucasian is cooking it, here are some reviews from our customers.
Yesterday, I stepped foot in this establishment, Tyler Barbecue Grill, and had the worst service of my life. The cashiers were smiling at each other, and then smiling at me. They were mocking me. In my 50 years on this earth, I have never been treated so poorly. When I confronted them, they said they just smile at people. Ridiculous. Never go here.
Okay, so this part is for the editor who's editing my voice clip. Whenever I swear, just add a fucking bleep, okay? It makes it a lot more funny, in my case at least. Alright, here we go. This is the actual part. This shit makes me want to shove a pumpkin up my ass. It's so fucking awful that it's worse than the fucking Star Wars Christmas special. Fuck! Thank you.
So come on down to Tyler's Barbecue Garage and make your reservation today here down in the comments section below. Hey, that was a great recording session. So when is this thing airing?
Actually, I have some bad news.
Which is?
We have a cease and desist.
A cease and desist? What do you mean? What do you mean a cease and desist?
Dude, barbecue already exists.
What do you mean something like this already exists? Who owns the rights to barbecue?
What's happening? It's your boy Rob Hines, aka Toby Jones from Jones Barbecue and Foot Massage. And I want to give a shout out to my man, Shut Up Tyler, on his YouTube page for his Luigi Vacation video. Now listen, I don't think where they sending that dude is going to be a vacation, but nonetheless, shout out Tyler, much love, and always remember and never forget, chicken plus dinosaur equal bitches. Peace.
Figure we're on vacation, why don't we talk about some video game beaches? Why don't we first start with the game Persona 5 and its remaster Persona 5 Strikers. In the first game, they actually visit real-life Hawaii for a little mini-arc during the middle of the game, and the entire point of the sequel, Persona 5 Strikers, is the Phantom Thieves actually take a summer vacation where they go and visit other locations in Japan, mainly Okinawa, where this is actually one of the more shorter chapters in the game. Are you guys familiar with the early 2000s water aesthetic? I always think of Sonic Adventure 1 with this, mainly with Station Square and Emerald Coast. Very early on in the game where you play Sonic's campaign, you can even see him towards his ending credits sequence where he shows his title card there. An underrated one is the town Summers in the game Earthbound, where it's basically a giant tourist trap. But it is very interesting. I always like the little song with it too. I like listening to it when I'm actually on vacation. The first beach levels I remember seeing in a game was Pokinaru from Ratchet and Clank. I remember this when I was at my friend Travis's house, and we would basically play Ratchet and Clank, and I remember him showing me this level when we were kids. Good times. Another early one that I kind of loosely remember is The Sims 4, where it kind of reminds me a little bit of the boardwalk they have at South Carolina's Myrtle Beach. I remember we would go there a couple times when we were kids. Oh, Vacation, I know, is a very sports-esque game where you could just play like on the beach and stuff too, but also too was Woohoo Island. I remember this when I was a kid when we played the Wii Sports series and stuff like that. I remember that we would kind of just travel around Woohoo Island. Always very iconic. Arguably one of the best places you could play beach volleyball is Dead or Alive's Extreme Beach Volleyball. I remember this one was making its rounds a lot when I was a kid with the older kids around the neighborhood. Definitely can see why. Why don't we transition from beaches to actual islands too? First one I'm going to point out is Animal Crossing New Horizons, where you basically make your own island getaway. Shout out to Tortimer as well for Tortimer Island as well in the earlier games of Animal Crossing. What about we talk about the Alola Islands in Pokemon, where it consists of the 4 main islands that are Melee, Akala, Ula Ula, and Pony Island that you travel through. One of my favorite ones. I always like the vibe of it as well. Alba's Wildlife Adventure I find to be a pretty interesting one. You take place as a kid named Alba who goes and visits her grandparents back on this island peninsula that they grew up on with their family. And basically, Alba's job here is to take pictures of the animals that's, on the beaches, vacation spots, everything like that too, because you're trying to save pictures of them because you don't want to have the animals die off and go extinct. And you're basically being a nature conservationist through taking pictures like a Pokemon Snap game. It's really neat. I think it's a very underrated little gem. Since we're already back to the beaches, I want to give a shout out to Seaside Kingdom and Mario Odyssey. It was one of my little favorite spots. I always liked to, it just felt like a nice natural beach resort without it just being too extreme with it too. Especially I like the inhabitants with it as well. Especially the gorgeous water. Oh man, this is like my favorite kingdom in the game. Just simply because it's just so laid back and it's nice. Especially too, we could play some beach volleyball right over here with the snails. I think if we're talking about Mario going on vacation, we all know where this is going. That's right, Super Mario Sunshine. The game starts out with Mario, Peach, and Toadsworth going on vacation to Isle Delfino, where Mario gets framed for basically graffitiing the entire island and almost killing everybody there because of the ink that Bowser Jr. places with it too. But come on, this is like the ultimate beach game you could think of with Nintendo. I mean, it's so obvious. Especially with collecting all of the shine sprites, you have to collect all 120 of them if you want. A lot of the great areas too, like the Watermelon Festival, Gelato Beach with the Cataquacks and the Wigglers. But yeah, no, I do recommend this game as a Mario game, but I wouldn't 100% it. But with that being said, I think we're going to stop talking about beaches and islands, and I think we're actually going to talk about our next special guest here for Luigi Day Vacation.
Hi-ho, it's Kermit the Frog here, and Guy Gilchrist, and we just wanted to say, shut up, Tyler. Okay? Just shut up, Tyler. I mean, we love listening to you, but there's a reason, for shut up, Tyler. Guy even wrote a song. I think it's a blues number, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Because if you wrote it, it would be a Greens song. Okay, why don't you do it? Hey, everybody. This is Guy Gilchrist, and I am Jim Henson's cartoonist, and I have been for many, 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 many years. 45, as a matter of fact. That's a million drawings of the Muppets. And I've been with, I was with Jim for, the last 10 years of his being here. And we didn't know that it was only going to be 10 years. But we carry on Jim's tradition and his spirit. And we celebrate him in every single thing that we do. And it was a little odd, to have, Kermit say, shut up, Tyler. I don't even think that he says that to Piggy because, of course, that would be at his own peril. But I understand it's Luigi Day. It's happy Luigi Vacation Day. So my latest drawing, this little masterpiece here, this is for you. You. And, I was trying to think of a Muppet song that, could say, what needed to be said here. And I honestly couldn't come up with one because, there's no place in Shut Up Tyler for, what's so amazing that keeps us stargazing, and what do we think we might see? Someday we'll find it, the rainbow connection, the lovers, Tyler and me, and Luigi. And see, that wasn't really working. It's a beautiful song, but, it wasn't really working for this. So I think I've got one. Let me take this capo off and get myself into A. Yeah, okay. Well, shut up, Tyler. That's what all the people say. Oh, now shut up, Tyler. That's what all the people say. Well, I know you've got a podcast, but it's Luigi Day. Yeah, shut up, Tyler. That's what all the frogs and bears and pigs say. Brown Muppet way. Yeah, shut up, Tyler. The Muppets are on the way. So let's get on with it. It's Luigi Vacation Day. Bum bum ba bum ba bum ba bum. I hope you're having an awesome Luigi Day, whatever Luigi Day is. It's gonna be awesome. And I can guarantee you one thing. Tyler is not going to be quiet. I can guarantee you that. But, he probably shouldn't because dead air, dead air. We don't want you to shut up, Tyler. Well, maybe just a little bit. Well, we love you, Tyler. Jim Henson's Muppets love you. We love Luigi. And we love all of you and all of the viewers and all of the listeners. And I want you to know that as long as we love each other and we're kind to each other and we make each other smile, that it's always going to be the Rainbow Connection, that Jim will always be here, the Muppets will always be in your heart. Thanks for shutting up for a minute, Tyler, and letting me talk. Happy Luigi Day.
Splatoon 3 first debuted on E3 2014 to the public for the Nintendo Direct that year, it basically becoming a new IP, a third-person shooter for the Nintendo Wii U, and basically being a new killer app and IP for Nintendo during the era. Debuting on May 28th, 2015, this is the first of the gameplay that was released for it on the system, where it's 4v4 gameplay, where it's basically glorified paintball, but you have like goofy little weapons and maps and stuff too in a post-apocalyptic Earth where squids and octopus basically run the Earth. Not only was this a lot of series first for Nintendo, such as this being the first game at all in, new genre, but it also was the first to implement the live free updates that would come further along with the game, and this was basically the one to popularize it, because back in the May release, there really wasn't too much added to it, but at a giant update in August of 2015, it basically added so much more, like maps, gear, music, and everything like that as well to the gameplay. So they definitely were cooking, and I think in the long term it does help keep a little bit of the longevity with the game, but I do think that definitely could have a little bit more. It's certainly not like Fortnite or anything like that. Splatfest also were a huge event for the game when it was out. The last one was against the Squid Sisters, Callie versus Marie, and Marie taking the gold with it too. But this was the interesting part with this, is that it set the tone for later entries with this, because the final Splatfest directly affecting the next game, which we do see in Splatoon 2, but we will talk about that later. Splatoon 2 coming out on July 21st of 2017, about 2 years after the first game came out. It basically kept almost everything, but the big difference with this exploding was that it wasn't on the struggling Wii U, it was on the very popular Nintendo Switch console. Splatoon 2 really wanted to basically grow the community with it too, and with the plants that were pretty much placed and seeded from Splatoon 1, is that 2 really got to have a bigger and better identity than the first game, mainly with Salmon Run, for example, giving something a little bit more casual, you could say, but also giving a little bit more of a co-op and different taste of it too, and giving something new for players to try out as well. Glossing over the main story mode of Splatoon 2, where it's basically almost one-for-one for Splatoon 1, other than just Callie getting kidnapped. Octo Expansion, I think, really should have just been the main focus with this. Is not only because it introduced the Octarians and Octolings into more of the story with it as well, but I think that it just makes more interesting gameplay with roguelites and harder challenges that you can face with it as well too. And I do think that they just bring better characters to it as well. I think this is really where Splatoon 2 started to really kick off a little bit more into the public's eye, is because those major updates for Update 3 just really just skyrocketed gameplay with it too, with extra maps and everything, pretty much almost akin to the August 2015 update that we saw. Wrapping up the end of Splatoon 2, we did see the final fest of the Splatocalypse, where pretty much every major character was pitted on one side to pick a team other than Judd. And I do think it's really interesting is that Chaos vs. Order was what led into Splatoon 3 with this, is that instead of just one idol, it was basically the whole theme of the next game as well. Updates to this game, however, I felt, while more consistent, I did feel like it was a little bit underwhelming. What I mean more of is that the catalogs with the two, by I think season 4 or 5, pretty much were recycling old content, and pretty much now they're just recycling the last 4 that you basically had before the game shut down with the updates. While there were additions such as the catalogs, as aforementioned, emotes you could do at the end screen, as well as badges that you could collect in banners, I do think it is a cool addition though too, especially with Table Turf. But I don't really think it makes as big of impacts or as draws to people that would really like it though, and especially too, this is already established. It's the second game on the Switch, and not like a whole console jump with it as well. We did see last year that we did receive Side Order, where basically it was a roguelite following the style of Off the Hook, including Oct, as you travel through the Order of Spire with it. But I do think it's a little lacking compared to Octo Expansion, that is, the fact that it doesn't have the same amount of storytelling, or I feel like difficulty with it as well. I do think that this was a bit of a turnoff, though, and it wasn't the same kick that it really needed to, especially with this coming out in the end of Season 6 out of 8 for Splatoon 3, but what did come out towards the end, I think arguably kind of makes up for it. When Grand Fest got announced, this was huge, especially too is because this is basically the end of the trilogy where we saw the Squid Sisters, Off the Hook, and Splatoon 3's Deep Cut going out of their way to have a giant Coachella party where basically an everyone is here moment, seeing like a bunch of references and throwbacks and remixes to all 3 of the main games, which I think was a smart move. And honestly, as a big fan of Splatoon, I do think it was really enjoyable to see. I mean, everybody I know that plays Splatoon was playing it as well. Man, hands down, the best Splatfest that ever happened. A real shame I don't think anything is ever going to be topped. While we're at the end of Splatoon 3, we do have Splatoon Raiders coming out sometime 2026, 2027 for Switch 2. We don't really know too much about it other than we are going to be following Deep Cut. I'm assuming with their own story as well with it too, is like a dedicated game, but Splatoon over the last 10 years has definitely proved one thing, is that shooters can definitely be fun and interesting with it. And I think that this is what makes it so popular, is not only because it's on Nintendo, but it does have something that makes it stand out. And honestly, it's very addicting and fun, but don't play like 3,000 hours like I did.
Hey Tyler, it's Sarah Natacheni, voice of Ash Ketchum on Pokemon, and I just want to say hi, because it's Luigi Day Vacation time, apparently, and we're on vacation. So, hi, thank you so much for being a fan, and remember, Tyler, I choose you! See ya!
First founded in Lakeland, Florida in 1968, this was started by 2 gentlemen, the first being Bill Darden and Charles Woodsby, opening up their first restaurant called Red Lobster. Interestingly enough, back in the 1970s, General Mills actually came to help out both Woodsby and Darden by helping them expand across the U.S. for more franchises and locations, which is interestingly enough, though, because General Mills, for those that don't know, is actually a major distributor of cereals such as Cinnamon Toast Crunch. 1974 was when they first debuted the popcorn shrimp to the menu, becoming one of their more iconic menu starters with that as well, and then launching their major slogans back in 1975 with such advertisements as "Life on land is dry and go overboard," and "Seafood differently." In 1984, on Valentine's Day this year, they started a tradition called Lobster Fest, where you basically got a little bit more of a discount for lobster meals and entrees as well. Interestingly enough, too, is that Red Lobster also is known for having live lobster tanks that you could have the lobsters eat from, and you basically would have them cooked and served to you in the restaurant. Not something you really see too often. 1992 was when they had their cheddar biscuits debut in restaurants, tying back to General Mills. Not gonna lie, this was a fan favorite of ours. We were eating these pretty much the entire time. Just gonna kind of go through these last few ones real quick. 2004 was when Endless Shrimp was debuted. 2006 was the Fresh Fish menu getting added onto the menu. And 2010 was to remake them to fit into more new designs with the restaurants. And they were completely going independent from General Mills back in 2014 with Preservations for Oceans and back in 2019. Back in May 19th of 2024, they actually filed for bankruptcy, but it's not a full shutdown, but a lot of restaurants did get hit. They are kind of making a somewhat comeback, but it is still not to what it was at its peak. Why don't we touch up on the menu just for a quick moment? I think that we talked about a lot of the food options already with this, but there's some other ones too, is that they have burgers. If you're maybe not interested in those too, we got fries, like a lot of fresh shrimp. Myself, I got some mahi with that. Oh, I had a nice beer called the lobster drink. And then we see right there, Badnick, he had a tequila. He was so undecided, but a lot of great food too. Very fresh. I love Hush Puppies, and you know what? Yeah, just kind of going in with it too. Why don't we get into the review?
Well, we just finished eating. I'd like to introduce to you guys Best Badnick. What's up? He's bringing his first ever introduction on camera to Luigi Day, especially for Remember the Restaurant here. Badnick, I'm going to start with you. What did you think of Red Lobster?
I thought it was pretty good. Red Lobster has always been one of my favorite restaurants. Ever since I was a wee little homunculus. I've been coming here since then, and I'm still coming here now, and it's still delicious. It took like, I don't know, maybe a little...
Like an hour and a half, I'd say.
Yeah, over 2 centuries for the food to get there, so that's like that's got like take off like 1 star at least.
Yeah.
But, you know what, it was still really fucking good when it got there. I had a nice surf and turf platter, you know.
Yeah.
Just lobster tail and so a 7-ounce sirloin. Can't go wrong with that.
Yeah, I had a little bit of pretty similar to what Badnick had here, but I swapped out the steak that we had there. We went with like the salmon and stuff like that. That was really good. We had a lot of the cheddar biscuits. Actually, they loved it so much because I got in character. They gave me free biscuits to go.
Yep.
And I took a lot of pictures with them, like the staff and a bunch of other people.
So many pictures. Everyone loved this guy.
Yeah. They tried to throw me in the pot in the back.
I held them back.
My suspicion was they were going to tell me they had Red Lobster cologne and it tasted like lemon. So, I mean...
I had to grab the spatula and beat the owner so he wouldn't...
Yeah, so I don't know if we're going to be able to come back to this. So we'll see about Joe's Crab Shack.
Yeah, we're actually on the run
right now. But yeah,
now.
everything was great. I did think the lead time was a little long on it, but you know what? It was okay. I liked the food. Really delicious. You don't really see that many, like, fast food or like restaurant places around here like for seafood, especially like in the Midwest, but it was very good. We're gonna just cut right back to it though, and then we're gonna have Jake the Tom Brady give his thoughts on Red Lobster, and we'll be right back. Thank you for joining.
Oh, you're welcome, man. Thank you for having me.
Well, guys, this has been another episode of Remember the Restaurant. I'd like to thank my co-host, Best Badnick, for coming on out to us here. Anything you want to say to the audience at home?
Go to Joe's Crab Shack.
All right, yeah, what he said. With that being said, we're going to cut to our next special guest we have here for Luigi Day Vacation. And until then, bring out the dancing lobsters.
Shut up, Tyler. Alright? Alright, motherfucker? You piece of shit? Fuck you. And fuck Luigi Day. Alright? I don't wanna be there. Fuck you all. Alright? Shut up, Tyler. I'm talking. I'm Ricky. And I'm the best version of you, Tyler. You don't come close to me, bitch.
We're approaching the end of the show, but before that, I would like to give some special shout-outs to everyone on Luigi Day Vacation. First, I'd love to give a special shout-out to our special guests here. First being Darth Vader, Guy Gilchrist, Kermit the Frog, Chris Hansen, Serenata Jenny, Rob L. Hines, Ricky Berwick, and Santa Claus. Thank you guys. Without you guys, this wouldn't be the same show, and I'm very appreciative that you wanted to collab. I'd also like to take a moment to give a shout out to my team as well. First up being Complex, the main editor, as well as filming and promoting Luigi Day Vacation, as well as Nerdy Kit Kat, the project manager and thumbnail artist and coordinator of events for Luigi Day as well. Hypertorch for being the lead animator for this project as well. Please go check out his YouTube channel, as well as Best Badnick, the co-host of Remember the Restaurant for this year, as well as we have Chad Warden, admin and a behind-the-scenes specialist for Luigi Day as well. Speaking of behind the scenes, I'd love to give a shout out to Peach and Squandale, two lovely ladies who have done work for assets and renders that you've seen across the video as well. As well as I'd love to give a shout out to Martin and Jake, people who've worked a lot with Shut Up Tyler for videos as well too, as well as Oracle, the movie night host that we have here in the Luigi Day server, as well as Brendan, or Notorious SOB, the host of the Brendan Bodus and Luigi Day and the #1 Giraffe. And thank you, the viewers watching for Luigi Day Vacation. It means a lot to me that you guys want to watch this, but we do have one last surprise before we go. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in 2026. Bye-bye.
Hello, Tyler, and all you merry gang. It's me, Santa Claus, popping in from the North Pole before I make my midnight ride on Christmas Eve with a big Merry Christmas and a very happy Luigi Day. Now, Tyler, the elves and I are still trying to figure out how you ever picked up the moniker Shut Up, Tyler! Oh, even for the North Pole, that's a new one. But it did make us chuckle. And Santa always loves a good laugh, even if it's on himself. But listen closely, my friend. There's a reason God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth, so you can listen twice as much as you talk. It's clearly there, because if you don't, you'll never learn anything. Remember, as long as your mouth is running, you can't hear anybody but yourself. Ho, ho, ho! My father, God bless him, a grand elf and a toy maker emeritus in his own right, always told me this because I love to talk. He said, Nick, it's always better to keep your mouth shut and let people wonder how stupid you are than to open your mouth and remove all doubt. Those words still ring true today. Comb your hair and knock her down. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being part of the fun, and from the whole North Pole crew, Merry Christmas and Happy Luigi Day. Just remember, I'll be watching you. I'll be watching all of you. Ho, ho, ho!